there guys, hope you're all good this evening and that you're all coping with our current way of living. When I was asked to share something with you this evening, I knew exactly what I wanted to share because it's something that's been on my heart for the last week or so, and it's been a real encouragement to me, so I wanted to share it with you guys. I don't know if any of you have been watching the TV series on BBC called Pilgrimage: A Road to Istanbul. It's a documentary which follows 7 TV personalities and their journeys that started off in Serbia through Bulgaria and finishing in Istanbul, strangely enough. They're all different backgrounds of faith, upbringings, very different views on faith, through from Catholic, practicing, non-practicing Muslims, atheists, Christians, and what their opinions on other people's faith were was really interesting as well. But throughout the whole series, they really came across that they understood each other, they accepted each other, and were able to listen and digest other people's opinions about their own faith, which was lovely. But the part I wanted to share with you that really has spoken to me, I thought was really portrayed beautifully. I don't know whether it was specifically meant to come across this way or whether this is something I've just picked up. One of the guys called Amar Latif, I don't know if I've pronounced that properly, he's a TV presenter and a motivational speaker. I hadn't heard of him before this series, but watching him on the programme, I had the impression that he was a really nice, gentle personality, a nice guy. He's been blind since the age of 18. He was actually told when he was 4 that he had a debilitating blindness that would grow, and by the time he was about 18 he'd lose his sight. He admitted that his family are practicing Muslims, but on losing his sight he stopped practicing. Through the whole series, what stood out for me was the companionship that was held between him and the other guys. His fellow walkers would really stood by him, really helped him, but in a way because they liked him. It wasn't we're doing it because we're on TV and we've got to. There was a natural bond that came out of it. Everywhere that they went, obviously one of the team had to be with him, guide him, lead him, the hand on the shoulder, on the belt buckle, etc. So somebody was always looking out for him. But the bit that really struck the chord with me, that throughout the whole experience, one of the other fellow walkers was explaining things to him, and how much more their experience must have been magnified because of what they were explaining. Their interpretation, their verbalisation of whatever they saw, whether it was a temple, a structure, a tree, beauty, a view, always seemed deeper and more pronounced than if a group of people that were all seeing stood on the side of a mountain and looked out and went, oh, that's nice, that's beautiful, because that would have been needed to be said because everyone could see it. But because of Amar not being able to see, they had to describe the valley was really deep and it went off to the left, and that side was heavily treed, and the explanation, because of Amar being blind, was so deep. It was never actually said in the programme, but I really feel that through that happening, through the explanations being made for Omar, that us as viewers had a bigger, deeper experience of that programme and what they saw. We actually were able to digest more of what they saw through their explanations of it. This then got me pondering, as it does. And over the last week, we've been really blessed with the weather. And so when I've been sitting out in the garden, and I've really enjoyed the garden, but I've also realised how blessed I am, hence why I'm sitting in the view of the garden, that we have a garden that we can sit in at the moment. Not everyone has got that facility and, is blessed like that. And so that has really come home to me how blessed we are as a family that we've got that garden. But it also made me think about how I view our garden. Now, we live in a quiet road, normally, but at the moment it's even quieter. And the distant, noise from traffic, planes, etc., isn't there. And suddenly I've discovered that we have extremely noisy blackbirds. And suddenly I'm noticing things around me more. In the last week, I've experienced that we actually have a pair of blackbirds nesting, a pair of blue tits nesting, some greenfinches, and 2 rooks. Now, you see birds flying around your gardens and your homes all the time, but to actually better stop, think and see that that is a pair that is there every day. The blue tits come down and sit in the tree and talk to us, and the robin talks to us. I sit watching the frogs in my pond. And it's just made me realise that in our busy lives, some of us don't find the time, we don't have the time, we don't allow ourselves the time to stop, to see, to listen. Now, I'm not saying that I sit in my garden and verbally explain what I see, but this week I've actually made a point of sitting there and going through in my head what I'm seeing, and I've looked deeper at plants. I've looked deeper at the blossom on our cherry tree that's now scattering its content all over our garden from the winds yesterday. But suddenly I'm seeing my world, my surroundings in a new light. So I hope it encourages you that this week I want to challenge us that you might need a jumper this week, not your sun top, but to go out in our gardens, to go out in our spaces. If you don't have that facility, I don't know, find a nature program on telly or look at Google, or when you go out for your allowed walk, etc. Just try and listen more. Stop and listen. Stop and hear what's going on around you. Look at the nature and see whether we can be challenged this week to experience our surroundings in a different way. At the moment, I feel that with everything going on, it is obviously very negative, but we are portraying things from the negative side of things. You know, it's sad, it's scary. I've written some things down there. But this week, let's find some time to see things from a positive side. That we look at God's nature. In Psalm 104, the way the psalmists write it is so, full of explanation. How many are your works, Lord? In wisdom you made them all. The earth is full of your creatures. There is the sea, vast and spacious, teeming with creatures beyond number, living things both large and small. Now that could have been written in half of that, there are creatures in your sea, which is sometimes what we would say. Psalm 96, 11 and 12, let the heavens rejoice, let the earth be glad, let the sea resound and all that is in it. Let the fields be jubilant and everything that's in them. Let all the trees of the forest sing for joy. You think of the song, we shall go out with joy, be led forth with peace. I want to challenge us. Let's see things from God's perspective. Let's see things more in depth. Let's, this week, see nature as though we're having to describe it to a visually impaired person, and see whether we come out this week with a more positive mind to what's around us. Have a fabulous week. I hope that's encouraged you. I hope it makes sense. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Miss you all. Take care. Bye-bye.